Hello there. This is the Sounds American channel. In this video, we're going to talk about the American consonant sound as in the word thing. You can also hear this sound in words like sing, long, bank, or uncle. We'll be using a special phonetic symbol, for this sound. Many non-native English speakers don't realize they have difficulty with the sound. However, this sound is often distorted, which noticeably affects their American pronunciation. The good news is that once you know how the sound is spelled and how to pronounce it correctly, you will sound more like an American. Let's start with learning how to recognize the in written words. The is most commonly represented by the combination of letters NG at the end of words. So, when you see a word that ends with the NG combination, you should always pronounce the sound For example, going, long, king. As you may have already noticed, the final G is not pronounced, as it belongs to the sound. Sometimes you may find the combination NG in the middle of a word. For example, English, finger, jungle. Now take a look. In these words, the letter N is still pronounced as but you should also pronounce the letter G, as it's part of the next syllable. And finally, there's one last case. Listen to these words: think, thank, or zinc. The letter N is pronounced as as it occurs before the letter K or the letter C. If it still feels complicated, here's a quick summary. If you see a word that ends with NG, you have the sound. If you see the letter N before the letters G, K, or C, pronounce the N as And now, let's find out how to make the sound. To make the sound correctly, it's important to pass the air through your nose. Let's take a closer look at how to do that. Pull the back of your tongue toward your throat. Next, stop the air in your mouth with the back of your tongue and direct it into your nose. If you make this sound correctly, you should be able to stretch out this sound, like this. Now, let's try saying it. Here are a few typical mistakes people make when pronouncing the sound. Number 1. The most common mistake is when people pronounce the as the and g sounds. As a result, the is distorted and sounds like ng. Remember, even though the is represented by the two letters NG, it's still a single sound. The letter G is never pronounced in the NG combination at the end of words. Listen, sing, but not sing or sing. Number 2. This is similar to the previous problem, when the is pronounced as two sounds. Some people don't pronounce the final G when making the and that's great, except for the fact that they pronounce the voiceless sound k instead. As a result, the sounds more like nk. This way the word sing will sound more like sink, which, by the way, is a totally different word. Compare. Sing, sink. Number 3. Finally, some people distort the by placing the tip of the tongue to the alveolar ridge or against the back of their upper front teeth. As a result, the sounds more like the sound. Listen and compare. Sing, sin. That's an absolutely different word again. To make the sound correctly, you should pull the back of your tongue toward your throat. Sing. Now, let's practice the sound in some words. You'll see a word on the screen and hear its pronunciation. Like this. Being. You'll have a few seconds to pronounce the word. Repeat each word after the speaker. This is the most important part of the exercise. Let's begin. Bring. Doing. Dying. Going. King. Lying. Ring. Sing. Sling. Sting. Swing. Thing. Wing. Ring. Let's pause here for a second and check on how you are making the sound. The back of your tongue should be pulled toward your throat and the air should be directed into your nose. Let's continue practicing. Along. Among. Bang. Belong. Gang. Hang. Hung. Long. Slang. Song. Strong. Sung. Swung. Wrong. Young. Bank. Crank. Donkey. Drank. Drink. Drunk. Ink. Junk. Length. Monkey. Pink. Thank. Think. Uncle. zinc, anger, angle, angry, bungle, Congress, English, finger, hunger, hungry, jungle, language, mingle, shingle, single, triangle. You're done. Congratulations! By the way, while watching this video, did you think of any words with the sound that you pronounced incorrectly? If yes, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more videos.